What's up YouTube? Jeff back again, and I'm finally here with more Android videos. I know it's been a while. I moved to a new studio, got a lot of things going on sort of in my day job, but you know I have the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, and I did pick up the 5G model. Now, this is my first day with the device. I got it yesterday, so I'm still within the first 24-hour period with it. I want to give you guys some initial impressions. Of course, I'm going to have my first 10 things video, tips and tricks, case reviews, everything I always do for the Samsung phones. But I want to talk about the device and give you some impressions from the first day. Now, with every single Samsung phone, the first thing that I always notice when using it is the display. And the display is fantastic on this device as well. There's been a lot of people making a big deal about the fact that this is not going to be an extra high refresh rate device like the OnePlus 7 Pro or something like the Razer Phone 2. Personally, I don't have any issue with the refresh rate being 60 Hz on the device. Scrolling is very smooth. I don't notice a huge difference. I actually notice, when I use this versus the OnePlus 7 Pro, that it doesn't bother me at all. Some people say if you come from a high refresh rate device, it might bother you a lot that this one is not 90 Hz or 120 Hz. I've had no issues at all. Now, one thing I will say is that I am not a gamer, so obviously I can't speak to whether or not this is going to be an issue for those of you who play a lot of games or something that might bother you. But for me, in just general navigation, I've had no problem with the display at all. And of course, the actual colors and everything, the brightness looks fantastic. Now, the other thing, which I have to actually warn you about, you guys kind of saw here at the beginning, I know a lot of people have spoke about this. This phone can be a little dangerous if you use it outside without a case. You can see how bright this is, and here in Arizona, in Phoenix, our sun, especially during August and July, is so bright during the daytime that the other day when I first got the phone, I was using it around campus at the university where I teach, and I was walking to get some food, and I noticed that people were kind of getting blinded as I was walking by. The phone was literally kind of shining in their eyes. People were having to shield their eyes, so this is a phone that you definitely want to use a case with, unless you want to blind other people on purpose. I have a lot of case videos coming right now, though. I'm using the UAG Monarch case they sent out to me. Always love their cases. They changed things up a little bit, and they actually removed the big UAG branding down the middle, and now it's on the bottom of the phone. But I highly recommend getting a case or a skin or something if you don't want to blind people. Also, lots of people have mentioned this is a big fingerprint magnet, but that doesn't really bother me too much because, again, I do use a case on my device. Another thing that has to do with the build that a lot of people are talking about is the buttons here being on the left-hand side. This, I don't really know how I feel about it yet. So far, I have been looking for the buttons a lot here on this side. That's because my previous phone was the Galaxy S10 5G. You see, they're very similar, but notice how much more reflective the Note 10 Plus is versus the S10 5G. I thought this phone was reflective when I got it, but no, it's nothing even close. I've been using this phone for my daily driver, and of course, power buttons on this side. So since I've been using the Note 10 Plus 5G, I've been reaching for it a lot over here. But I actually am right-handed, but I use my phone a lot in my left hand. So I think this is not going to bother me too much over time. Obviously, I'll have to give you guys an update when I do a full review. Of course, I'll post updates on Twitter, things like that. You can follow me over there if you're interested. Battery life, as usual, I don't like to say a whole lot about battery life. I've been using it today for a while. It's at 76%. I've had it on since I got up today. I haven't used it on LTE a lot today, though, because I've been at home, working from home today. So I've probably had it on for about 7 hours. I like to give it a couple charge cycles for battery life because I'm always using it more in the beginning, setting things up, testing things out. So of course it's going to drain a little more battery life. When I get back to my daily routine next week, the university is back in, I'll be teaching, so I'll be on LTE and Wi-Fi a good mix of the time. Give a better idea of that. 3D scanning, that's one of the features that's kind of a big deal. You can download the app from the Galaxy Store now, it's right there. I tried this with a bunch of different objects today, this morning. It doesn't work that well, to be honest with you. Basically, you've got to get your object that you want to scan within this little circle, and it needs to be like 20 centimeters away. So it needs to be in the green area. You can see right there. The problem is it's really finicky with what is in the green area. And then you have to circle the object. So you have to place it on something that you can go entirely around the object 360 degrees. And then of course, you need to stay relatively the same distance as you're circling it. So you kind of need to get a perfect circle around the object, which is very hard to do, especially when you're kind of moving. It's kind of hard to keep track of that. So the things I was able to scan just looked terrible, and most of them failed to scan somewhere throughout the process. So I think the 3D scanner needs some work. Obviously, I know most people probably aren't buying the device for the 3D scanner capabilities, but that's one thing I'd say. If you're buying it for that, that's not a good reason to buy this device. The S Pen, of course, the S Pen is back. A lot of the same great features. I'll get into some more of these in my tips and tricks video. You got the blue S Pen here with the Aura Glow, which is really nice. You're going to have searchable notes now. The way the menu works is a little bit different. So the menu, see here, is a little bit different than what we've seen in the past. You've got your little charge for the S Pen there at the top as well. Always nice to have the S Pen, of course. That is the defining feature of the Note. It's one of the reasons why I even carry my Note with me later in the year after new phones have come out, and then even into the next year, because I always need that capability. Use it for my day job, answering emails, and displaying mathematics to my students. So the last thing that I want to mention is the camera, because the camera, of course, is something that wasn't really changed a ton, other than, of course, adding some of these things like the 3D scanning abilities. I took some photos, yesterday and today just to check it out. It's pretty similar to the S10 Plus and the S10, the S10 Plus. You can see that you've got your very nice color here, as usual from Samsung. But in some of the portraits that I took, like this one of my wife, there is some softness around the facial features, things like that, especially around the hair area. Some real softness in here. That's pretty standard on Samsung cameras, unfortunately, and it's something that they really need to improve. So their low lighting ability to get fine detail and not have those really soft areas, even in the fajitas, which looks really good, there's a couple of soft areas that is kind of hard to notice if you zoom in a little bit. Those are things that Google and I think Huawei have done a good job of cleaning up in their cameras by using software. I think Samsung really needs to try to focus on that with the next camera iteration. Of course, this is a preliminary thing. I'm not saying it's a bad camera, but I don't see a lot of things that are so much better from the S10 and the S10 Plus that the camera would be a reason to upgrade. Overall, yeah, I really like the phone. It's great. For a lot of people, this phone is going to be a huge phone if you're switching from a lot of other phones. Now, I was switching from this phone, the S10 Plus 5G, and as you guys can see, the S10 Plus 5G is not that much smaller than the Note 10 Plus, right? So the S10 5G, very similar. It's a little bit shorter, but the width's about the same. So it's not really that big of an adjustment for me, just because these two phones are so very similar. But for a lot of people, if you're switching from any other device, the phone is incredibly tall and also quite wide. So you're going to have to get used to this form factor. Probably will over time, but if you have very small hands, it definitely is something to consider. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification icon so I can make future videos like this. Find me at dopetechdaily.site, Twitter and Instagram, the links in the description. A lot more Note 10 Plus coverage coming, plus other phones this fall. I'm going to be back full time now, and I will see you guys around the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.